Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
The big stories tonight. The impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte gets a new date. Well, at least according to one senator. But House lawmakers do not want to wait another day later, telling senator judges again to step on it.
And over in The Hague, the vice president's father is reacting to his name being implicated in the missing sabungeros case. We also have updates on former President Rodrigo Duterte's health status as he awaits his day in court in 2 months.
And one marine biologist says that the Samal-Davao bridge construction has already taken its toll on marine life in the area. Later, Dr. John Lacson will paint us a picture about the extent of damage on Paradise Reef.
Will save millions and millions of money on the trial that is technically defective from the beginning.
Para sa akin, talaga yung dapat mangibabaw dito ay ating saligang batas. Malinaw yon. Conduct the trial now.
The impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte may be moved further, according to one senator. This development is definitely not sitting well with the House prosecutors, who want the process to begin soonest. As for Duterte's office, well, it wants the trial stopped altogether to save the government millions in public funds. Mobile Journal Kyla Makantan with tonight's big story.
Some senators are pushing to convene the impeachment court a week after President Bongbong Marcos's fourth State of the Nation address. Senator Joel Villanueva bear that there are already informal discussions in the upper chamber to convene as an impeachment court on August 4, or exactly a week after the fourth SONA. But the lawmaker was quick to clarify that even this date is not final yet. Senate President Chis Escudero's proposed calendar showed the initial oath-taking of newly elected senator judges scheduled for July 29, and the trial would commence on July 30.
Ang pag-uusap namin nung ilang mga senador together with Senate President Chis Escudero na once we were able to organize ourselves, ayos na yung leadership, probably yung mga committees, maka-elect ka na rin ng mga chairperson, kahit hindi pa siguro membership, no? Kasi medyo it takes time also, no? But at least give it 2 days, session days. Nung tinanong niya ako, nag-agree na ako na pwede yung August 4, and I think that's enough time to be given sa Senate and the House to organize itself.
Meanwhile, the office of the vice president said government could save millions in public funds if the Supreme Court rules in favor of petitions seeking the dismissal of the impeachment case against VP Sara Duterte. According to OVP spokesperson Ruth Castelo, while Sara remains prepared to defend herself in the impeachment court, her legal team is also pursuing all available remedies to challenge the process. Duterte earlier said she is expecting a bloodbath during the historic trial. The Supreme Court earlier directed both chambers of Congress to submit comments and documentation related to the impeachment case. That's after consolidating separate petitions filed by the Vice President through her lawyers, all questioning the legitimacy of the proceedings.
If the Supreme Court says it cannot be heard at this time, and then we'll be very lucky actually as a country, because we'll save millions and millions of people of money on the trial that is technically defective from the beginning.
But for some House members, the social weather station survey showing 66%, or almost 7 in 10 Filipinos wanting Duterte to address her impeachment, is telling. For the lower chamber, this is vindication of their fight to extract accountability from the vice president. They believe the case against Sara could only grow stronger and more solid once the prosecution team finally gets to present their evidence at actual trial.
I feel that I'm vindicated, and I feel that the people are with us in holding public officials accountable to their actions.
Well, tingin ko naman, lahat ng mga nasa pamahalaan ay sensitive sa public opinion. Para sa akin, talaga yung dapat mangibabaw dito ay ano ba yung utos ng ating saligang batas? At sa akin, malinaw yon. Conduct the trial now.
Still, the Vice President's office is unshaken, even presenting its accomplishments for 2024, which included initiatives she started since came into power in 2022. Sara is currently in the Netherlands to visit her ICC-detained father, former President Rodrigo Duterte. Her spokesperson also dismissed people branding the VP a mere spare tire.
The services that are now being delivered by the Vice President through her office is a way of preparing herself just in case anything happens from now until 2028. All the Vice Presidents, past, present, and future, are looked at as spare tire. But if you really think about it, the Vice President should be as prepared as the President. Should anything happen to him, who assumes the responsibility? Keeping her out of the loop or not being able to provide funds for her projects and programs, not being able to support the Vice President is a great disservice to the country.
On a personal note, Castello denied that businessman Atong Ang is still her client. Castello represented Ang in 2007 when he got charged with plunder, and she successfully secured probation for him through entering a plea deal. According to the OVP spokesperson, their professional ties ended after Ang was released from a 2-year probation from a Bicutan detention facility. The gambling tycoon is now considered a suspect in the case of missing sabungeros. Mobile journalist Kayla Macantan, We are One News.
Meantime, Senator Amy Marcos has filed the President Rodrigo Roa Duterte Act, which seeks to criminalize extraordinary rendition, and the measure imposes jail time for any person who gets involved in transferring a prisoner or accused to foreign jurisdiction.
Hindi na dapat maulit ito nangyari kay Presidente na kinidnap siya at dinala rito sa ibang bansa. At papatawan natin ng parusa.
Marcos is currently in The Hague to show and reiterate support for the former president. She has also vowed to support other bills in Congress pushing for either house arrest or interim release for Duterte. Digong is detained at the ICC for crimes against humanity charges.
Talagang ako'y nakikiisa sa kanila. Pero sa kabila nun, alam ko rin na hindi tayo papansinin ng ICC, ano man ang ipataw dyan. Kaya pursigihin natin, maliban sa resolution dyan sa Senado, na baka naman baliwalain lamang. Pursigihin pa rin natin ang pag-iipon ng ebidensya, pagtatanggol kay Presidente sa loob ng proseso nitong ICC. Baka naman madaan sa tiyaga at sa dasal.
The Vice President also gave updates on her father. The former president, Sara said, is doing okay. She also belied photos circulating online showing her father in a hospital bed and looking frail. Sara says they are still working on having Digong's latest photo taken in order to counter fake news. The Vice President also thanked her family's allies in the Senate, pushing for her father's house arrest.
We thank them for their concern for President Duterte, and we thank them for supporting the move for application for interim release of former President Duterte. So we are grateful to the senators for expressing this in a Senate resolution.
And now let's try to get clarity on the Senate Impeachment Court's timeline on VP Sara Duterte's trial. And joining us tonight is the court spokesperson, Attorney Reggie Tonggol. Good evening, welcome to The Big Story, Attorney. So,
Good evening to everyone. Nice to be back.
Is it August 4, as one senator had said? May you give us an idea how the trial will proceed?
Well, Cess, there is no official decision yet by the presiding officer. However, the internal meetings that was disclosed by Senator Judge Villanueva might be just that, just a proposal to have the actual trial already start by August 4. However, we know as well that a few of the senator judges as well is pushing for an earlier date, and I think the presiding officer is listening to all the senators and the propriety of convening the impeachment court by July 29 or just right after the State of the Nation address.
So how will this decision come about? Will there be a caucus, or is the presiding officer going to just poll everybody on his own?
We expect by July 29, once the Senate convenes as a legislative body, that one of the senators proposing an earlier convening, just like what happened last July or June 29, June 9 and June 10, that one of the senators will come up and move for the convening of the impeachment court and the swearing in of the senator judges who has just been re-elected or elected last elections. So we expect that the senators will need to vote on whether or not they will convene on the afternoon of July or whatever date that they will set by July 29.
Okay, and of course you also submitted, I'm talking about the Senate Impeachment Court, a manifestation ad cautelam to the High Court in reply to its on-bank, what do you call it, a letter or a document asking a bunch of questions, mostly directed at the House of Representatives. What can you tell us about that, Attorney?
Well, basically, it reiterates just the comment that was earlier filed by the Senate Office of Legal Counsel last March when the Supreme Court asked the parties to comment on the petition filed by Attorney Torion and the other lawyers. So the manifestation ad cautelam, because we are again being asked to reply or to send a answer to the questions posed by the Supreme Court in its resolution, we just manifested again that the Senate has no personal knowledge of the facts or information being asked of it. And as these matters from the letters A to K or 11 items are within the purview of the House of Representatives in its power to initiate the impeachment process. So it's just a matter, of course, that we just filed that in order to comply with the requirements of the Supreme Court.
This is the Senate's position, correct?
Correct, yes.
Is it not that all other senators should be consulted about this manifestation, or can the legislative staff just draft this manifestation?
I think the Senate President, as part of his administrative powers as the head of the majority of the senators, may already use his power in order to answer the Supreme Court regarding the compliance that is being asked by the Supreme Court. And as you remember, says the resolution also contains a period that is non-extendable, which will be ending by June 22 or Tuesday for the Senate, and
July, you mean?
July rather. So there are no more matters that the Senate can provide or information that it can provide the Supreme Court. So it just redirects the information back to the House of Representatives.
So basically, the Senate didn't get another letter, because when I read the 2 pages or 2.5 pages from the Supreme Court, I thought it was specifically addressed to the House. So all the Senate got was an exact copy of what was sent to the House.
Correct. The courts usually send it to all the parties.
Well, Attorney Reggie, given the involvement now of the Supreme Court, how does the Senate view its role as an impeachment court? Is it purely reactive at this point to whatever the Supreme Court will dictate or ask of you, or are you still actively preparing for the possibility of a trial?
If you look at the wording of the manifestation that we filed last March and the manifestation that was filed yesterday, it is both manifestations are ad cautelam or with caution. That means that the Senate is still asserting its power to solely try and decide all matters regarding the impeachment. So that is the thing that's quite telling with the filing of the Senate. So it means that the Senate is still proceeding as it is, absent any temporary restraining order issued by the Supreme Court.
Okay, because attorneys, some critics are concerned that senator judges can use the involvement now of the Supreme Court as a delaying tactic in proceeding with this impeachment trial. How do you respond to that?
Those things are within the realm of possibilities. We cannot discount the fact that some senators who are averse to the continuation of the trial might push for said motion to stop the proceedings. But at the same time, we also expect senators who are for the proceeding of the trial to counter the arguments of the other senators. So it is up to the Senate as an impeachment court or as a legislative body once it convenes on July 29 to vote on it, on what course it will take.
But what's the inclination as of now, Attorney Tonggol? Because we've seen all the surveys, no? Kahit ano pang survey firm yan, most of the results say the same thing. Everyone wants a trial to proceed. A lot of senators have spoken up. And, you know, Senator Risa earlier today also said that there's numbers na matutuloy ito. Can the public take this as a guarantee na talagang kasado na and it's just a matter of whether pagbukas ng Congress on July 28, 29, or August 4?
That is what is peculiar with this judicial and political proceeding that is the impeachment. The senator judges are actually monitoring what the public sentiments would be at a certain period in time in the process of the impeachment. So that's why a public discourse and public pressure is very important in order to persuade the senator judges to decide in favor or against an action or a motion. So it's a welcome development that the process is being seen as something that can actually continue, but at the same time, the public should also not tire in trying to reach out to their senators and the other officials regarding the process itself.
You also mentioned, Attorney, no, in your manifestation ad Cotalam, yung items A to E, yung first 5 items, are exactly the same questions that the Senate wanted to find out from the House of Representatives. I take it na they haven't actually answered you guys. And how will this interplay, no, when they respond to the Supreme Court based on the answer? Will that also affect the timeline of the impeachment trial? I think Attorney froze.
Okay.
Were you able to?
If you look at the June, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, if you look at the June 10 order of the Senate Impeachment Court, it's not as detailed as what the Supreme Court is asking the House to answer. So since the issue on the first compliance as regards the one-year bar rule, the Senate Impeachment Court only wants an assurance from the House of Representatives that it did not violate such. It did not even inquire as to the nitty-gritty details of how the complaints were initiated or were referred and were acted upon by the different personalities in the House of Representatives.
But so, the manifestation says that, actually.
Yes. Yes, because these things, the order of the impeachment court wanted to ask the House about those things. But the certification that was given by the House of Representatives to the Senate is just a 2-pager certification that they did not violate. So if this certification will already be compliant with what the impeachment court wants, we have to see once the impeachment court convenes and the senator judges decide on the next course to take, and once it notes said compliance from the House of Representatives.
There have been observations that this is an overreach by the Supreme Court. What is your own point of view? Of course, you'll say no.
Well, the matter of overreach, that's one view of certain lawyers and people advocating for a certain narrative. The impeachment court, like any other court, and the Supreme Court, like any other court, has inherent powers to do its due diligence in inquiring into the facts regarding the matters that are put before it decides. So it is just a matter of using that inherent powers to get the information so that it can decide on the issue at hand.
Attorney, what about the oath-taking of the newly elected senators? Is it still possible that it could take place before the 20th Congress, or will it happen already on or after July 28?
Well, if you look at the order of June 10, the compliance by the House of Representatives to the two certifications would be the condition sine qua non in order for the impeachment court to actually convene. If the House of Representatives can already give
Yeah, our
by
connection
July
is
29, by July 29, then the impeachment court can be moved by one of the senator judges to already convene and tackle the matter. So and also by July 29, we are expecting as well that the impeachment court will be asked to have the 12 senator judges to already take their oaths. So there are many things that's going to happen on July 29, and we can only hazard a guess as to the order of things and how these things will proceed by then.
Plus, we already know that Senator Bato will move for the senators to vote, well, if he succeeds, on whether the 19th Congress can carry over into the 20th, right? He already has disclosed this publicly.
Correct. Mukhang mag-uunahan sila sa podium kung sino yung mauunang motion. Of course, kung sinong maunang motion doon, una munang i-dispose yung motion na yon. So, however, as you remember, the second certification being asked from the House of Representatives will actually address the concern by the Senator Judge De La Rosa as to whether or not the 19th Congress actually proceed and continue in the 20th Congress.
So August 5 looks like a more realistic date.
Correct. You also have to remember, says that the impeachment court, when it issued the summons to the president, it did not set a date and time for her to appear. And under Step 7 of the impeachment rules, the appearance must be ordered by the impeachment court. So awaiting the compliance of the House of Representatives and the appointment of the prosecutors, I think the impeachment court will also have to schedule and send another notice to the Vice President as to appear.
Okay. But another thing is, well, you can say also, let's just wait. Some senators can say, let's just wait for the Supreme Court to decide. You know, that's a possibility, right? In the realm of possibilities.
Correct. That's within the realm of possibility. So sabi ko nga, mag-uunahan na lang sila sa podium kung sino yung mauna doon.
Any idea how that will go up? May draw lots ba? May raffle ba? Takbuhan ba ito, Attorney Tonggol?
You raise a point of order. I think that's what you do,
officers have been elected, there will be a majority floor leader and a minority floor leader, and any motion by the minority will have to pass through the minority leader, and he will be the one to move for the recognition of the senator judge and also the majority leader. So in the order of business, it has to be put into record. The said motions of the senators.
We thank you for joining us tonight, Attorney Reggie Tonggol, for all your clarifications. As they say, abangan ang susunod na kabanata. Thank you. That was Impeachment Court spokesperson, Attorney Reggie Tonggol.
Right, we're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, Tropical Depression Krising is gaining strength and could become a storm by tomorrow. The areas on its
You're watching The Big Story here on One News. Petitioners in the writ of Kalikasan case against the Samal-Davao City Connector project are dismayed. That's after the Court of Appeals denied their request for a temporary environmental protection order or TEPO. In a statement, Carmela Marie Santos, a petitioner and member of the Sustainable Davao movement, said they were deeply saddened by the court's ruling. This is tantamount to a denial of a temporary protection for reefs that took centuries to grow and could be destroyed in just weeks. Santos stressed that these ecosystems do not just support marine life, but also provide food and livelihood to coastal communities. According to petitioners, their fight is not against development, but for the law, biodiversity, and the rights of fisher folk. Santos also criticized a lack of effort to explore less damaging alternatives. Still, she said the court's denial only strengthens their commitment to fight for the reefs, the communities depending on them, and the legal principles they believe should have prevented this outcome. The petitioners also remain committed to pursuing justice, invoking their constitutional right to a balanced and healthful ecology under Article 2, Section 16 of the Constitution. As the case moves forward, the petitioners are urging the public to stay informed, engaged, and vigilant. Our next guest also has a take on this issue, but we're not going to ask him about any court decisions. He's with us tonight to speak for the reefs. That's really the ultimate cost of the Samal-Davao Bridge construction. And joining us tonight is John Lacson, a volunteer marine biologist of the Save Paradise Reef Advocacy. Thank you for joining us. May we call you John?
Of course, you may comment to me.
So tell us, how extensive is the damage to the reef with the bridge still undergoing construction? I believe 34% now completed according to the DPWH.
According to the DPWH, they are 38% completed.
38, okay.
That's what they say, yes. But the damage to the reef, I would say, is about 1/4 of the entire reef. So if we estimate that the reef has a square area of 7.5 thousand square meters, approximately 1,500 square meters is dead.
This is confirmed by video that you've taken personally.
This is a video I submitted to you and also submitted to the Supreme Court.
Okay, I think we are rolling the video right now so our audience can watch. We're seeing kind of like a grassy, there's one striped fish in the video right now. Tell us, Dr. Lacson, what does it mean? You know, a dead reef might not mean a lot to a lot of people who can't even see what's under there. But what is really the extent of the damage? Is this going to affect fishermen, livelihood? That's what Carmela told us the last time we spoke.
Well, you're not just damaging a reef, you're damaging an ecosystem. And that entire ecosystem is basically a nursery for the fish that these people have been fishing for decades, generations of their life. So once you destroy the reef, you've destroyed the foundation of the ecosystem, and you've destroyed a nursery for all of these important fisheries, the danggit, the matambaka, the lapu-lapu, the
Tuna.
smaller, yes, the smaller bait fish and that kind of thing, yeah.
And John, well, is there still a way to reverse the damage or sort of mitigate the impact of what has already been done? Or is science clear that once disturbance happens underwater, it's almost irreversible already?
It's irreversible at this point. The part that has been damaged has actually been cemented. That's what very surprising was that they would actually pour cement on the dead fragments of corals. And that's one of the videos that was submitted to Minda News. Unfortunately, that happened the day after we submitted our petition to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court didn't actually see that. The Court of Appeals didn't also see it. The first time it's going to be shown is actually on your TV show. So yes, it's irreversible. What they have done is irreversible. You cannot regrow a coral reef just like that. Even if you did artificial reefs, even if you did transplantation, it would take 10 years to take hold, plus another 10 years more to really flourish. That's 20 years. That's a generation time of a human. What does one generation do in the meantime?
Okay. We're talking about Paradise Reef, right, John? But there's also some affected areas in the Hizon Marine Protected Area. Have you dove down there and seen if there also equal destruction in that other side?
I have not personally dove in Hizon.
Is it diveable? Accessible?
It's a restricted area because it's a marine protected area. In order to enter a marine protected area, you have to have a permit from the barangay. And right now, because DPWH is very, very heavily involved there, it's a really restricted zone. So no, I don't have evidence from Hizon.
And last time we had Carmela on the show, when she was talking about the damage on Paradise Reef, she actually turned emotional just thinking about how different it looks. It's dead, it's not, it doesn't look alive anymore, right? The colors are quite gray already. But John, tell us about the biodiversity in Paradise Reef. How rich is it? What kind of fish are there? And what does it look like now?
Also, I'd like to request production to please play the one with the covering of the cement. I haven't seen it.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank you, sis.
Let's
Okay.
see that. Do go on, John, and respond to Pawi's question while we
The question
prepare
asked,
that video.
what is the biodiversity contained there? 69 species of hard corals, 21 species of soft corals, over 120 species of fish, including many which are nutritional fish. The ones that we typically serve on our dining table and which is the staple of the Filipino diet. Like I said, it's the danggit, matambaka, merong talakitok, those may dapa, which is a flounder, and different species of those as well. So once you harm the reef, you're going to harm the entire food chain. And once you do that, you are really going to affect the fisher folk. As far as it being irreversible, it's really irreversible. You cannot bring back life to a coral that's dead, that's been cemented. So
This cement, is it from cement overflow or deliberately cemented over because they wanted to hide damage that had been done?
Or is it maybe for the foundation of the bridge? The pillars, the pylons?
Oh, yeah.
it was poured for the intention of supporting a pillar. That pillar happened to be close to the shoreline, happened to be very, very right on top of the reef. So when it overflowed, it covered all of the corals that were dead. We also have
Okay,
videos.
are these, okay.
Are those
We
the right?
still don't have the video because I believe you have a lot of videos, John. So sorry. We'll still figure out. These are the wildlife that was
Yes,
before.
these are the pictures of the fish.
Okay.
Okay.
May you describe the video that we're showing now?
That's dead reef.
They're not very clear on my screen. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But what you are seeing right now is clips from the book which show the 120 species of fish that reside there. So you're seeing fish which are right now at the lower end of the food chain. Eventually, as you keep rolling, you're going to see the fish at the higher end of the food chain, which is what the fishermen are being deprived of now. So, yes, you're seeing basically my book, which is the 120 species of fish catalog for Paradise Reef.
Okay. You know, John, one challenge also is to communicate to ordinary folk the significance of this ecosystem because we're hearing from comments when we do this story that all the Samal people want is easier form of transport. What use to them are corals. Some ordinary folk, I guess, need to be educated about the importance of the ecosystem that they may not necessarily realize.
Well, you're absolutely correct, ma'am. That's why I'm here tonight, is to at least emphasize that nobody can speak for the reef except maybe the scientists. And, you know, when I see the comments that I see on social media, They say, for example, 20% of the reef is dead and it's cemented. You'll see comments like, so what? 20% lang? And it's like, what can you do? You can't keep bumping your head against these folk. You can't keep fighting them in social media. Yes, you have to educate them. That's why I guess I'm here tonight.
We hope it's worth your time.
It's worth my time. It's
And
worth
I
my
was
time.
Sabihin na lang natin, di yung mangingisda na kumikita, wala nang kikitain. Di ba? Ganun yun. So
Talagang
dapat,
wala.
you should care.
They do care. In fact, in the Supreme Court case, there were two fisher folk who gave testimony. And those were the ones that we were going to bring to Cagayan de Oro for them to speak to the judges and to speak to the public. But we never had a chance. We never had a chance to show the scientific data. We never had a chance to show the videos of the reef that is undamaged. We never had a chance to show the cement video. We never had a chance. And I guess that's why Carmela gets so emotional, because we never had a chance. I don't get emotional about it because I'm just the spokesperson. I'm just the scientist who has all the evidence. Now, if I never got a chance to present the evidence in court, at least you have given me the opportunity to show the evidence on your show. And that's much more than I could wish for.
Kaso hindi ko pa nakikita yung semento eh.
There's a lot of... John, while we continue to look for that video, I was wondering how come he's on is a marine protected area, but Paradise Reef was not? I mean, was that some sort
Because the government actually of the city of Davao used to be very, very proactive. At the same time they declared Hizon, they declared many, many of their coastlines marine protected areas. And there was a campaign even at that time to start building artificial reefs in those places. Why is it not in Samal? Because Samal sort of drags behind. Samal is sort of a few years behind. It's this very archaic, quaint, bucolic place that's just full of resorts and fishermen. It's changed now. It's being much developed now.
Okay, I think we're seeing the damaged corals that you took. Here it is, right? Yung dead corals.
I don't think so, ma'am. That's not the cement video. The cement video is the one that was sent to Minda News.
Okay.
Okay, but John, you did say already that damage has been done and it is irreversible in terms of the coral reefs. But what about the microorganisms, the marine organisms, the fish? Will migration take place? Is there a way to responsibly handle them and find a new habitat for them?
Can I just say something about what you have on the screen right now?
All right.
Because it's very important. If you can put that back on the screen.
There it is.
Okay. There is the map of Paradise Reef. Okay? It's shaped almost like a lizard. It's got a triangular head and it's got a tail. And then you can see the dashed dot lines going from the top of the screen to the lower of the screen. Okay? Everything in between those dashed lines is dead. Everything. The entire ecosystem is dead. The staghorn corals, the table corals, the seagrasses, it's all dead. Because that was the focus of the work of DPWH up until the day that we submitted to the Supreme Court. So if you're asking how much damage has been done, it's the tail end of that reef that has been damaged. Now, as you continue working on the bridge, which is in fact shown by the dotted lines, the sediment that is uplifted by their pounding, by their dredging, is going to drift towards the front of the reef and is going to kill whatever is left. So that was a very important slide, and thank you for showing it.
So eventually the entire reef will disappear if construction continues.
If construction continues, it is not only my opinion, but the opinion of a very learned scholar, Dr. Filipina Soto from Cebu, who has come here many times. It is both of our opinions that there's no way the reef survives. No possible way.
All right.
Not after 4 years of this, it will not survive.
Is it because of the sediment flowing, or is it when you cut off, like an arm? If you cut off my arm, you don't do anything to staunch the bleeding, it will definitely kill me, right? But how exactly does it?
What a metaphor!
What a matter! I know, I couldn't think of anything. Cut off a leg. It's a tail end, right? So it's like the end of the limb. I mean, some people might think, well, the dotted line only covers this part, like those people commenting on Facebook. But how exactly is the methodology of destruction of the reef? How does it work to destroy the whole reef?
Okay. That was actually quite humorous in a way. Okay, let's just say I cut off the tail of the dog. Okay?
Okay.
That's really that you're amputating it. So maybe we cut off the tail of this reef. And people say, so what? It's 20%. It's not that. Imagine that you've cut the tail off the dog and then you're smothering it with a blanket. It can't breathe. Okay? You're taking a blanket and you're covering its mouth that it can't breathe. The sediment covers the coral polyps. Once it covers the coral polyps, they cannot survive anymore. It's like this blanket of sludge that you're putting on top of the corals. Then once they die, they become covered by algae, lumot. And what you get is a lumot reef instead of a coral reef, which is what you see when you go to Boracay. There's lumot everywhere.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
So, John, what would you say is the most logical course of action at this point?
The logical course of action at this point is to enter with a dialogue with DPWH and ask them to really put up their silt curtains, which, although some scientists say it's not even going to work, it's the best thing that we can do. Because if you at least try the silt curtains, SILT curtains, at least you can stop some of the sediment from drifting to the north and smothering the reef. Because if they continue to do this without blocking the sediment, there's no hope. I'm sorry.
So have you attempted this
No.
dialogue?
Oh, have we attempted the dialogue? We have had many dialogues with them. I personally met with Secretary Bonoan before they started the project. I personally met with Secretary Loizaga before they started the Craneway. Both of them washed their hands like Pontius Pilate.
What about the silt curtains? I mean, isn't that part of SOP when you're working around, I mean, the Davao Gulf is very clean and it would, without even diving, isn't that SOP? So you mean to say there's no silt curtain up at this point or at any point?
I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but the Davao Gulf is not pristine. Okay? Every time there's hard rains, you're going to see coconuts, wood with nails. You're going to see diapers. You're going to see plastic floating everywhere.
But I've seen dolphins.
There are dolphins, that is true. There are marine mammals, that is true. Okay? But the Davao Gulf itself is under intense pressure from human waste itself. Okay? Plus, this reef is also under intense pressure. Remember, there's coral bleaching, and some of the corals are bleaching. So it's like you smother the dog with a blanket, okay? And then you put a spotlight on it to heat it up. It's like, how much more can this reef take? It cannot take that much more pressure.
There's a new DNR secretary, Secretary Lotilia. Have you attempted to dialogue with him?
No, ma'am, I have not attempted to do that.
Maybe we should have him on the show.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
John, we also asked this question to Carmela, actually. Bridgeport was also identified by Japan's MERI as a suitable alignment location for this bridge. From an environmental standpoint, would that have made a more suitable option for the Davao-Samal Bridge in terms of protecting the marine biodiversity?
Absolutely, because the Bridgeport location was surveyed along with another place which was being offered by a family, along with Paradise Costa Marina area. The Bridgeport came back with the worst biodiversity because it's the old shipyard which was already damaged by the old ships. So the Japanese engineers came in and looked at it and said, we can put you a bridge here for 16 billion pesos, okay? Which would actually be a little bit shorter, which would follow the federal aviation guidelines. It would follow the ship navigational guidelines. It was right there in front of them since 2016. But for some reason that is unknown to me, instead we chose to make a deal with China for 23 billion and then pay the money back to China Road and Bridge Corporation. Now, I don't understand that. Why would you pay 7 billion pesos more, which is $125 million? Why on earth would you do that when Japan was offering you a much better deal 6 years before? So this thing is a very, very deep problem. It's a very, very, very deep problem that none of us common folk can explain. But none of that is actually what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm only supposed to be reporting to you the data, what is the damage, what is left, and what I think will happen in the future. So,
And well, we do hope you don't lose hope. We hope you don't lose hope. And we'll continue to follow this story as it unfolds. Thank you so much, John, for your time. That was Dr. John Lacson, volunteer marine biologist with a Save Paradise Reef.
All right, and at this point, here's a quick check on the weather. Pag-asa says Tropical Depression Krising is expected to intensify into a tropical storm tomorrow morning and reach severe tropical storm category by Friday evening. The State Weather Bureau is also not ruling out a landfall over mainland Cagayan or Babuyan Islands by late Friday or early Saturday. Krising was last spotted 625 kilometers east of Virac, Catanduanes with sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour. The tropical depression will also enhance Habagat or the southwest monsoon and will bring heavy rainfall over Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Catanduanes, Albay, Sorsogon, Masbate, Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Samar, and Biliran.
In other news, online gambling continues to generate billions of pesos in revenue, but with that growth comes calls for tighter regulation. Fintech leaders and lawmakers are now weighing in. Here's the report from Kathy Ann.
It's attracted both risk takers as well as regulators. Online gambling, now seen as a social crisis far worse than banned Philippine offshore gaming operators. Yet it's still a toss-up between imposing stricter rules or banning it outright. Fintech Alliance PH isn't waiting any longer.
We have received the draft circular of the BSP, and we are really pushing for that immediate enforcement.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas proposes to limit the use of digital payment platforms for online gambling, among them placing a daily cap on fund transfers for bettors, setting a daily time window for processing payments, and a threshold for heavy usage. Fintech Alliance PH members want to add more.
We even suggested additional controls or safeguards, and one of which is really having to ban celebrities or influencers in promoting online gambling, and also having to come up with geofencing within 1 kilometer radius of schools, churches, and hospitals.
The government earns more than 100 billion pesos from online gambling, says PAGCOR Chair and CEO Al Tenco. Of the near 85 billion pesos income earned last year, more than half that total, or 48.79 billion, came from online gambling. Some of the Philippines' integrated resorts have since gone big in online gambling, diversifying revenue streams from licensed land-based casino operations.
Well, in case of growth of that market itself, maybe it wouldn't, the way the pacing it will slow down. But, as a government, as a regulator, it is very reasonable for them to come up with something stricter like regulation, because, there's some kind of negative side in the society. But to me, whatever I'm doing right now is not only about online. It's about online, offline together, omni experience.
We spend a lot of time on customer segmentation and providing that the local market with an appealing product. The appealing product doesn't have to be gaming. We try and understand what the customers are looking for and ensuring that we're tailoring the message to the particular customer, because it's at the forefront of what we do.
The Bangko Sentral awaits comments until July 25. As fintech players start rolling out the guardrails, the public awaits a definitive response from the government. Kathy Yang, We Are One News.
We're just going to pause for another breather, but right after that, we have former President Rodrigo Duterte's reaction to insinuations his drug war could be connected to the case of missing sabungeros. The big story will be right back. Keep it here.
remains of missing sabungeros yielding 0 results. That's at least for the first quadrant of the search area. It took 6 days to search ground 0 with an area measuring 1.3 hectares. It yielded at least 5 sacks containing a mix of human and animal bones. Ground 0 is where whistleblower Julie Patidongan said the remains of the missing were dumped. Tomorrow, the Coast Guard divers will continue their search in another area of Taal Lake. Meanwhile, former President Rodrigo Duterte shot down insinuations linking his drug war to the case of the missing sabungeros. Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla had said they are also probing police officers who were tagged in supposed extrajudicial killings during the Duterte administration. In an interview in The Hague, Vice President Sara Duterte relayed her father's reaction.
Nalitaan ko siya about sa mga missing sabungeros case. And then sinabihan ko siya na there is an attempt to link him to the missing sabungeros case. So sabi niya that is preposterous.
All right, time for some good news for our commuters, but only those above 60 years old or those who have disabilities. Because starting today, July 16, you'll be getting 50% off your train fares. President Bongbong Marcos himself launched the fare discount for senior citizens and PWDs at the MRT-3 this morning. The fare cut is applicable in all stations of MRT-3 and LRT-1 and 2. Aside from
very
that,
limited ang kanilang income, kaya naisip namin, ito ay maaari natin gawin upang tulungan ang ating mga commuter na PWD at yung mga senior citizen.
Aside from that, the president also inspected the controversial Talian trains which have been purchased from China back in 2014 under the Aquino administration. These trains were never used because of compatibility issues. But now, 3 train cars from Talian are already working, and the Department of Transportation is working on repairing and testing 45 more.
Ang ginawa natin ay binalikan natin itong mga ito at tiniyak natin na kung ano ba ang kailangan gawin para magamit ang Dalian train na ito ay gawin na natin.
And before we go, here's our big picture tonight. Signal Play has rolled out the red carpet today for the official media launch of its new lineup of short-form series called Microdrama. Held at the Signal TV Launchpad, the event brought together cast members from 3 Queens and a Baby, My Father's Last Wish, I See You, and A Cure Called Love to celebrate its premiere. Microdrama is now streaming on the Signal Play app starting at just 20 pesos a day. That's a great deal, 20 pesos a day.
I wonder if that can apply also to our reporting, if we can do vertical.
Micro reporting. Micro news. Wait, we do it already? Sort of. On our social media pages.
On the take. Ano?
Yeah.
One take.
One take.
One take.
One take.
Pala yung name.
Yeah, it's Miss Sus tonight.
Is it? Oh no!
Maybe that's why I have a headache.
All right, now that's it for us on The Big Story this Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We're back here tomorrow at 7:30 as per usual. See you then. Have a good night.
Also, as per usual, coming up right after us, we have Play-by-Play with Andre Felix and Cheska Liton-Calaw. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Wow, Cheska, I like her
Wow.
fit.
Thank you so much.
Very red.
Oh, nice.
Wala ka bang neck
nagsiselos na naman ang
I
isa
felt
dyan.
the approval. Thank you.
May nagsiselos na naman dyan.
Bakit si Cheska naka-necktie, pero dot.
Tapos na show nyo? Tapos na? Okay na? Pwede na? Pwede na? Okay na?
First time, Andre, na gusto mo kaming pa-stop.
Alam mo, pagod na ako sa kaka-training ng marathon. Wala na akong energy, bumante.
So how's it going?
Ha?
How's it going?
Yeah.
Ha?
Okay.
Pagod na. August 31
pala?
Sydney Marathon.
Don't lose hope. Don't
Pero
lose
araw-araw
hope.
sisig
Keep it up.
kinakain.
Ay, nagor.
Minsan lang naman. Mga twice a week. Twice a week.
Nagdadalawang
Chicken wings.
isip ka na.
Ha?
Nagdadalawang isip.
Sama ka kaya?
Ay,
Marathon tayo.
ano ka?
Basta libre mo yung ticket.
O sige, basta mapatakbo ko si Sestrilon ng 42 kilometers. Okay lang sa akin.
Hati kami.
Ses,
Oh,
ito na.
talaga? 21 each.
Grabe ka!
Dinivide.
tayo.
Oh, Tigte 10:30 kulang pa isa.
Oh, with check. Si Jessica.
Oo, nag-workout yan.
40 na yun.
Nagpipilates yan. Pati naglalakad yan.
And
Malakas
Sean,
yan.
Pilates
And Ses.
Yeah.
Yung alter
Pwede
ego
ba yun
niya.
sa training ng marathon?
Uy, kasama yun. Pero it's only the tip of the iceberg. Kailangan din
You need other things.
endurance.
Are you crazy?
Okay na? Okay na?
Okay na. Alam ko, basic kayo kasi ang dami nangyari sa world of basketball
Yan,
today.
ang gusto ko sa'yo eh.
Alright.
Dami mo din talagang alam, Sean eh.
Hindi, nakita ko sa Twitter ko on my way here.
Okay.
Nanalo tayo.
Oo. Ito na kami ha. Pasok na kami. Ito na.
Okay.
Thank you once again to the big story, to Sestrilon, to Shania, to Pauline Versosa. Once again, awesome show as always. Hump Day Wednesday. On our show, we've got updates from Game 2 of the PBA Philippine Cup Finals, plus a check on Gilas Pilipinas women in the FIBA Asia Cup.
And we've got volleyball news, including Brian Bagunas and his new team, as well as Mars Alba looking forward to her Akari debut.
Tag show on a Wednesday. I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Litancalao.
And here's tonight's play-by-play.